everyone, I'm Becky.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering Book Reviews. Today we are talking about Husband Material by Alexis Hall, which I got off of Edelweiss.
Same.
So this is the sequel to Boyfriend Material. It takes place about 2 years later, and Oliver and Lucian have settled into a happy relationship. A happy but quirky, because it's Lucian relationship and there's all the issues going on. And everybody around them is getting married. Lucian's best friend, Bridget, got married. The evil ex-boyfriend got married. And the James Royces.
The guy from work.
What?
The guy from work.
The James Royces have a baby. And so, like, Lucian's like, I guess we should get married. And it's kind of that path. And it's them muddling through and just figuring out where the relationship's going to go. But because it's Lucian, is it Lucian or Lucian?
I thought it was Lucian.
I think Lucian, okay. But because it's Lucian, hijinks ensue in the most silly kind of way possible. And that's basically the book. And it's interesting because to me, this book, I enjoyed it. Okay, so the first book to me was like the great slapstick rom-com. And I enjoyed this book in a different way because it's like a quieter story.
This is definitely about a mature relationship, I guess, because it wasn't as fast-paced and as like action romancy as the first book. That I liked the first book better. But this is definitely a more mature adult kind of relationship, and so you're right, it's a quieter book.
I found something charming in the realisticness of their love and their relationship. Like and it happened in the first book, but in a lot of rom-coms, you have like these big moments where like they chase the person down in the airport, or like you stand in front of somebody's house holding a boombox. But that's not what this book is about. This book is about like every day you show someone that you love them. And it's just like, there's like these little, and I think I told you this, like there's a moment where they're having dinner with Oliver's parents, who, you know, if you read the first book, you know how that's going to
talk.
And Oliver's vegan and Lucian is not, but he's like, even though he didn't want it, he ordered the vegan meal to show support to Oliver. And there are little things throughout the whole book where he does that kind of stuff. And I know I found something charming and endearing about that. Like we're at that point where I don't need to surprise you that I love you. You know that. I just have to be here to support you.
Well, and I also think it was an interesting kind of look at identity within the LGBTQ community. Like there's a certain kind of, not caricature, but a certain kind of thought that, you know, you like rainbow arches and that you like a certain aesthetic. But Oliver kind of flips that on its head, and he shows that, like, you know, being part of the LGBT community can look very different for every person. And I thought it was just interesting kind of seeing that aspect of it.
Well, I think it's also interesting because like Oliver is basically like being gay is part of who he is, but at the same time he's like, I prefer things like the ballet, you know, or the opera. I like the opera and over musical theater because that's just who I am. Right. I want to look this way because this is who I am. And I thought that was,
you know, whereas Lucian thinks that by being part of the LGBT community that you have to like certain things, otherwise you're not gay enough.
Right.
And like that, I think that commentary on that is really kind of an interesting on like what is gay enough, and, you know, maybe challenging those thoughts.
Well, and it's like the book has a very set ending, but I would keep reading. Like I'm happy with where it ended.
I don't know if there's anything more to read though. Like
I don't know. I don't think there necessarily is. Conclusion.
Like I think we're in a good place. Like I think they're good.
Right. Like I would like, you know, how like in 5 years, like release a short story, just like a day in the life kind of thing. I would love that. Yeah. But no, but that's my thing. Like, I don't think I need anything, but I think that if the author chose to release something, I would read it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like I don't have much else to say. Like I said, it's probably going to be marketed as a rom-com, but it really isn't. It's the kind, you don't see a lot of romance books like this because it's not necessarily.
It's not fun and it's not fast, but it's real.
But it was like, there were fun moments.
There were some funny moments, yes, but it wasn't as fun as the first book.
It's not like over the top. It's like, it's not a romance. It's like, it's a relationship. It's
right.
And to me, that made it like stand out. So we should rate it.
Okay.
The rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. If we go down to 2 unicorns, if we don't like it, it's a horse.
I'm in a solid 3, honestly. Like, there were funny parts, but the faster pace kind of rom-com, the quintessential rom-com appeals to me more than the slower kind of mature relationship. But I mean, it was good for what it was.
See, and I'm at like a 4 because I found it refreshing and I liked visiting with them and I liked watching him muddle through, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't surprised that I enjoyed it. I was surprised that it was so different from the first book, but I enjoyed that it was different.
It was definitely different from the first book. And actually, the character Bridget really got annoying quite often in this book than she did like in the other one.
There were parts of like when they were all like hanging out like as a group with their friend, like when he was hanging out with his friends, it felt very Bridget Jones.
Yeah.
And so that is where we are on husband material, and we'll see you around.
Bye.
Bye.